Did you know that some of the most profound messages about your health aren't shouted? They're whispered. They appear not in a sudden crisis, but in the quiet, everyday moments we so often overlook, until one day we can't.
For Diana, it began with the roses. Her garden wasn't just a patch of land. It was a living library of her life, each bloom a memory. There was the stubborn climbing rose she'd planted with her husband, Jack, the year they moved in, its thorns a testament to their own resilience. But this spring, as she reached to prune a dead branch, her fingers, once so nimble and sure, felt foreign. They were puffy, like little sausages, and a strange ache pulsed from her knuckles. The pruning shears, a familiar extension of her own hand for 40 years, felt heavy and clumsy. She dropped them. They fell silently into the soft soil, a small, surrendered tool. This wasn't just clumsiness, it was a betrayal. It was the first whisper of a relentless thief that was slowly, quietly stealing the life from her hands. A thief she would later come to know by the clinical name of chronic kidney disease. Diana had always been defined by her capacity to create. At 72, she was the matriarch of motion, the heart of a home that smelled of cinnamon and fresh bread. Her identity was baked into the apple pies she made for the church bake sale, kneaded into the sourdough starter that had been in her family for 3 generations. But now, the simple joy of pushing her hands into cool, soft dough was a challenge. Her ankles would swell after just an hour of standing, turning a cherished ritual into a painful chore. Her legs, which had carried her through morning walks for decades, now ached with a deep, cramping restlessness at night, as if they were running a marathon while she lay perfectly still. The woman in the mirror, who once saw a vibrant gardener and a beloved baker, now saw tired, puffy eyes staring back a stranger in her own skin. The whispers grew louder, turning into a chorus of daily defeats. One afternoon, her granddaughter Lily asked for her famous chocolate chip cookies. Diana stood up, but a wave of nausea, metallic and unwelcome, washed over her. The sweet aroma of brown sugar and vanilla, once a comfort, now turned her stomach. She had to sit down, blaming it on a bad lunch, the excuse tasting like ash in her mouth. Another day, her walking partner, Susan, called. "Ready for our loop, Diana?" The thought of lacing up her sneakers and tackling even the gentle slope by the park filled her with an exhaustion so profound it felt like a lead blanket. "I'm not feeling up to it today, hun," she'd said, the lie heavy on her tongue. The worst was the night she woke up gasping, her legs in the grip of a vicious cramp. The pain was excruciating, a silent scream in the dark of her bedroom. She felt utterly alone, a prisoner in a body that was slowly, methodically, shutting down. It was a quiet Tuesday. The house was empty. Sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air, each one a tiny, carefree world. Diana sat in her armchair, a half-finished mug of tea growing cold on the table beside her. She looked at her hands, resting in her lap, swollen and useless, and in the profound silence of her home, a single, devastating thought surfaced, clear and cold as ice. "They are all going to remember me as the woman who simply gave up." The thought didn't bring tears. It brought a chilling stillness. It was the fear of her legacy being one of absence, empty chair at the dinner table. The garden overgrown with weeds, the scent of baking faded from the house forever. Her gaze drifted to the mantelpiece, landing on an old, silver locket, Jack's last gift to her. It wasn't fancy, but it was hers. Inside was a tiny, faded picture of a much younger them, vibrant and full of unwritten chapters. She remembered his words. "You, Diana, are the strongest person I know. You don't bend, you bloom." The memory didn't break her. It sparked something, a flicker of defiance. She was Jack's Diana. She was Lily's grandma. She was a woman who tended to stubborn roses and made them flourish. A quiet resolve settled over her. Her perspective shifted with a simple, powerful internal phrase. "This is just another weed in the garden, and I have always been a gardener." The journey back wasn't a miracle. It was a series of small, hard-won victories. It started with a doctor's appointment, a diagnosis, and a plan. It was followed by small changes that felt monumental. One morning, she managed a short, slow walk to the end of the block and back. The air felt crisp and new in her lungs. A few weeks later, with Lily as her little assistant, she baked a small batch of cookies. Her ankles were supported by a stool. She took frequent breaks, but the house once again smelled of home. The day she knelt in her garden, her hands protected by new gloves, and successfully pruned that stubborn rosebush, a genuine, unforced smile bloomed on her face. These weren't the grand gestures of her old life, but they were infinitely more precious. They were moments reclaimed from the thief. Diana's story isn't about a magic cure. It's about the power of listening to the whispers before they become a roar. It's about understanding that the clues to our deepest health challenges are often hiding in plain sight. Dismissed as just getting older, her journey started with swollen fingers and ended with a reclaimed life. And it was all because she and her doctor finally started connecting the dots. Your journey might look different, and perhaps you've been told that these small aches and annoyances are just a part of life. But what if they're not? What if they are your body's way of sending you a critical, life-saving message?
That's why you're here today, because you suspect there's more to the story. You've been told that feeling tired is normal, that waking up at night is just what happens, that losing your appetite is nothing to worry about. But the truth is, these can be the silent warnings of kidney trouble, and ignoring them is a gamble none of us should take. Over the next few minutes, we're going to unravel these hidden signs one by one. We'll explore everything from the color of your nails to the foam in your urine, from relentless itching to a strange metallic taste in your mouth. We are going to connect the dots, and I need you to stay with me until the very end, because the single most important sign, the one that affects up to 90% of people with this condition, is the one we're saving for last. It's the ultimate warning sign, and understanding it could genuinely change the course of your health journey. Before we dive in, please remember, this information is for educational purposes and to empower you in conversations with your healthcare provider. Always consult your doctor before making any significant changes to your health regimen. Your story is unique, and your care should be too. Now let's get started. Our first clue, the subtle signals on your skin and nails. Let's begin with the signs that are easiest to see, but also, paradoxically, the easiest to dismiss. Have you ever looked down at your hands and felt like they weren't quite your own? This is where the mystery often begins. You might notice you're bruising more easily. A small bump against the coffee table that would have been forgotten yesterday now blossoms into a large purple mark that lingers for weeks. Or perhaps it's a relentless, whole-body itch that seems to have no cause, often worsening at night, just as you're trying to find rest. Some people even notice a peculiar change in their fingernails, where the bottom half remains pale, while the top half turns a reddish-brown color, a phenomenon known as half-and-half nails. The conflict here is that each of these symptoms, on its own, seems minor. Bruising. I must be getting clumsy. Itchy skin. It's probably just dry. Strange nails. That's odd, but it doesn't hurt. We are conditioned to ignore these little red flags. But these aren't random, unrelated annoyances. They are often the external manifestations of an internal imbalance. When your kidneys, your body's master filtration system, start to struggle, they can no longer effectively clear waste products from your blood. This collection of toxins is broadly called uremia, which literally means urine in the blood. To understand this, let's use an analogy. Imagine your bloodstream is a crystal-clear river. Your kidneys are a highly sophisticated dam with an intricate filtration plant. For decades, this plant works perfectly, removing all the pollution, debris, and toxins, keeping the river pristine. Therefore, everything downstream thrives. But when the filtration plant starts to get clogged and slows down, the pollution begins to build up. The river water becomes murky and toxic. This is what happens in your blood. These uremic toxins can make your tiny blood vessels more fragile, leading to easy bruising. They can accumulate in your skin, irritating nerve endings and causing that maddening itch. The precise reason for the nail changes is still being studied, but it's a clear signal that something systemic is amiss. Unlocking this first health secret means learning to see these small signs not as individual problems, but as a collection of clues pointing to a deeper issue, a deeper disturbance, the nighttime nuisances. Now, let's talk about the night. It's supposed to be a time of rest and restoration, but for many, it becomes a battleground. Does this sound familiar? You finally get comfortable, ready for sleep, only to be forced up by an urgent need to use the bathroom, not just once but multiple times a night. For just as you're drifting off, An excruciating cramp seizes your leg muscle. Or maybe it's an almost indescribable, overwhelming urge to move your legs, a condition known as restless leg syndrome. The problem is that we have a powerful narrative for these issues, especially as we get older. Of course, I have to get up at night. My bladder isn't what it used to be. Leg cramps are just a part of aging. My legs have always been fidgety. We accept these disturbances as our new normal. However, they can be critical early indicators that your kidneys are losing a key ability. One of the first functions to decline in kidney disease is the ability to concentrate urine. Healthy kidneys work hard overnight to produce very concentrated urine so you can sleep uninterrupted. But when they are struggling, they can't do this efficiently. The result is large amounts of dilute urine that force you awake. Consequently, this disturbance is about more than just volume, it's also about balance. Your kidneys are responsible for meticulously managing the levels of electrolytes like calcium, magnesium, and potassium in your blood. When this balance is off, it disrupts how your nerves and muscles communicate. A leading theory for restless leg syndrome, for instance, links it to how the body handles iron, a process influenced by inflammation that can be driven by kidney issues. Think of your body's electrolyte balance like the finely tuned engine of a luxury car. When every fluid and electrical connection is perfect, the engine hums along silently and powerfully. But if you start putting in the wrong oil, or if the electrical signals start to misfire, the engine will start to sputter, knock, and seize. That's what's happening on a cellular level when you experience those cramps and irresistible urges to move. These aren't just random misfires. They are signs that the master mechanic, your kidneys, is having trouble keeping the entire system in tune. An unsettling taste, when your senses sound an alarm. Have you ever gone to eat your favorite food? Something you've been looking forward to all day, only to find that it tastes wrong? Almost like you're licking a metal spoon or an old penny. This bizarre and unpleasant metallic taste is a surprisingly common complaint in people with advancing kidney disease. And often it doesn't come alone. It can be accompanied by breath that has a faint ammonia or urine-like odor. As you can imagine, when your food tastes like pennies and your breath is off-putting, your appetite tends to vanish. This leads to a dangerous cycle of not wanting to eat, which in turn leads to unintentional weight loss and malnutrition, making you feel even weaker. The conflict is that a loss of appetite can be attributed to so many things: stress, medication side effects, or just feeling a bit down. But the specific combination of a metallic taste and loss of appetite is a distress signal we need to decode. As uremic toxins build up in your blood, they eventually find their way into your saliva. The normal healthy bacteria in your mouth then break down one of these toxins, urea, into ammonia. Therefore, these ammonia compounds are what stimulate the taste receptors on your tongue in a way that your brain interprets as metallic. It's a direct consequence of your body's filtration system being overwhelmed. But it gets even more complex. Your brain has a special defense center, the chemoreceptor trigger zone, designed to detect poisons in your blood. It's the reason you feel nauseous and vomit when you get food poisoning. Unfortunately, this safety sensor can't tell the difference between a toxin from spoiled food and the uremic toxins from kidney disease. It just knows a poison is present, and it triggers the same response: nausea, vomiting, and a complete loss of appetite to protect you. So that feeling of, "I just can't eat a thing," isn't in your head. It's a primal protective mechanism in your brain being activated inappropriately. The telltale foam, what your urine is really saying. All right, this next one is a very visual clue, and it happens every time you use the restroom. I'm talking about foamy or bubbly urine. Now, a few bubbles that disappear quickly can be normal, but if you consistently see a thick layer of foam that sticks around, similar to the head on a beer, that is one of the classic signs of protein leaking into your urine. The problem is, it's just not something most of us pay attention to. We're busy, we flush, and we move on. We don't think of what's in the toilet bowl as a diagnostic tool. Yet, it's providing a direct report from your kidneys. Inside each of your kidneys are about 1 million microscopic filters called glomeruli. To truly grasp how this works, let's use an analogy. Imagine each of these tiny filters is like a high-quality kitchen colander with incredibly small holes. It's designed to let water and small waste products pass through, but to hold back all the large, important things like pasta or vegetables. In your blood, the most important large thing is a protein called albumin. Its job is to stay in your blood vessels. When the delicate filters in your kidneys get damaged, it's like the holes in that colander get stretched and torn. Consequently, large albumin proteins start to slip through and escape into your urine. This is a condition called proteinuria, and luckily for us, albumin has a chemical structure that causes it to foam up when agitated, just like soap. So that thick foam you see is a visual alarm bell. It's your body showing you in no uncertain terms that the crucial filtration barrier has been breached. It's one of the clearest signs that your kidneys are in trouble and need attention. The gravity of the situation, swelling in your legs and eyes. If you've noticed that your rings feel tight, your socks leave deep indents in your ankles, or you wake up with puffy eyes, you are seeing another consequence of that leaking protein we just discussed. This type of swelling is called pitting edema, and you can test for it. If you gently press your thumb into your shin for about 5 seconds and it leaves an indent, that's a sign of excess fluid building up in your tissues. Now, a little swelling can be normal after a long day on your feet. However, if it's consistent, doesn't go away overnight or is noticeable around your eyes, it's a major red flag. This happens because of a domino effect. As you lose that critical protein, albumin, into your urine, the concentration of albumin inside your blood vessels drops. Think of albumin as a water magnet. Its presence inside your blood vessels creates an osmotic pressure that holds fluid where it belongs. When you don't have enough of these water magnets, the fluid starts to leak out of the blood vessels and into the surrounding tissues. Gravity pulls this escaped fluid downward, which is why it's most noticeable in your feet, ankles, and legs. But here's the vicious cycle. As fluid leaves your circulation, your kidneys sense a drop in blood volume. They mistakenly think you're dehydrated. Therefore, in an attempt to help, they do the exact wrong thing. They start retaining salt and water to try and increase your fluid levels. This, of course, just adds more fluid to the system, which then leaks out into your tissues, making the swelling even worse. It's a critical misunderstanding between your body's systems, all stemming from that initial damage to your kidneys' filters. The hidden invader, the danger of high phosphate. We've talked about what gets out, but let's now discuss what harmfully stays in. I want to introduce you to a mineral called phosphate. We get it from our food, and healthy kidneys have no trouble filtering out any excess. The problem begins when damaged kidneys can no longer get rid of it, and phosphate levels in the blood begin to rise. This is a silent, invisible process with dangerous consequences. Why? Because phosphate loves to bind with calcium, forming hard, sharp crystals of calcium phosphate. When these crystals deposit in the skin, they can form hard, painless whitish-yellow bumps. But when they deposit inside your blood vessels, it's a medical emergency. They cause the walls of your arteries, which are supposed to be flexible and elastic, to become hard and brittle like bone. It's a process called calcification, and it's incredibly dangerous for your heart and circulation. Imagine your arteries are like new, flexible garden hoses. You can bend them, they absorb changes in pressure, and water flows through them easily. High phosphate is like pouring liquid concrete into the rubber walls of that hose. The hose becomes rigid, brittle, and can't handle pressure changes. Blood flow is restricted. This is exactly what happens inside your body. It's a silent transformation that dramatically increases the risk of heart attack and stroke. It's one of the most dangerous hidden signs of kidney disease, and it all starts with the simple failure to filter out excess phosphate. The silent thief. When your bones begin to weaken. The body's response to that rising phosphate and disrupted mineral balance we just discussed leads us to our next crucial sign, weakening bones or osteoporosis. This isn't just about age, it's a direct consequence of your kidneys' struggles. The conflict here is that we often associate brittle bones and height loss, yes, getting shorter is a major sign, exclusively with aging or menopause. We rarely connect it back to the health of these two small bean-shaped organs in our lower back. But your kidneys play a central role in maintaining bone health. They are responsible for converting vitamin D into its active form, which your body needs to absorb calcium from your food. When kidney function declines, this process fails. Therefore, your body finds itself in a calcium crisis. It's not getting enough from your diet, And the high phosphate levels we talked about are pulling even more calcium out of the blood. Faced with dangerously low calcium levels, your body makes a desperate choice. It releases a hormone that tells your bones, your body's great calcium reservoir, to start breaking themselves down to release calcium back into the bloodstream. It's a survival mechanism. It sacrifices the long-term strength of your skeleton to solve the immediate, life-threatening problem of low blood calcium. The result over time is weak, brittle bones that are prone to fracture. That fall that should have been a simple bruise now results in a broken wrist or hip. Your body is literally stealing from your bones to stay alive, a silent theft orchestrated by struggling kidneys. The energy drain, unmasking profound fatigue. Of all the symptoms, the one I hear about most is a profound, soul-crushing fatigue. This isn't just feeling a bit tired. This is the feeling that climbing a flight of stairs is like climbing Mount Everest. It's an exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. We often blame fatigue on poor sleep, stress, or simply age. And while those things contribute, there is a very specific and treatable reason for the extreme fatigue seen in chronic kidney disease: anemia. Healthy kidneys produce a vital hormone called erythropoietin, or EPO for short. EPO acts as a messenger, traveling to your bone marrow and giving it the command to produce red blood cells. These red blood cells are the oxygen delivery trucks for your entire body. When your kidneys are damaged, they stop producing enough EPO. The message never gets sent. As a result, your bone marrow slows down its production of red blood cells. Your fleet of oxygen trucks shrinks. With fewer red blood cells to carry oxygen to your muscles and brain, every single activity feels 10 times harder. You feel weak, you can't think clearly, and you are perpetually exhausted. It's like trying to run your body on a low battery that can never be fully charged. The good news is, much like Diana in our story, once this is identified, it can often be treated effectively, restoring energy and quality of life. This is a truth about vitality that is so often missed. The ultimate warning sign, the truth about having no symptoms. We have walked through a landscape of hidden signs, from your skin to your bones to your energy levels. I've asked you to stay for this final, most important revelation. And here it is. The single most common and most dangerous sign of early to moderate chronic kidney disease is nothing at all. No foam, no swelling, no itching, no fatigue, nothing. This is the critical truth that makes this condition so insidious. It's estimated that up to 90% of people with chronic kidney disease don't know they have it. The kidneys are incredibly resilient organs. They can lose a significant amount of function before they start sending out the obvious distress signals we've discussed today. Most people won't notice any definitive symptoms until they've already reached stage 3, by which point significant, often irreversible damage may have already occurred. This is why we can't wait for the whispers to become roars. We have to be proactive. The most common causes of kidney disease are high blood pressure and diabetes, two conditions that are widespread and often manageable. The overuse of common over-the-counter pain medications like ibuprofen can also, over time, cause serious damage. Therefore, prevention and early detection are everything. It's about managing your blood pressure, controlling your blood sugar, using certain medications judiciously, and talking to your doctor about simple blood and urine tests that can check your kidney function, especially if you have risk factors. Knowing your numbers is just as important for your kidneys as it is for your cholesterol or blood pressure. And there you have it. We've journeyed through the subtle clues, the nighttime nuisances, the sensory alarms, the visible evidence in your urine and your ankles, and the deeper systemic issues with minerals and hormones, all the way to the ultimate warning sign, the profound silence that can mask this disease in its early stages. Each of these insights is a piece of a larger puzzle, a way for you to become a better detective of your own health. So I'd love to know which of these hidden signs resonated with you the most. Was it the connection between itchy skin and uremia, or the vicious cycle of swelling, or perhaps the ultimate revelation about having no symptoms at all? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might be the one that helps someone else connect the dots. If you found this journey valuable, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our community. It truly helps us reach and empower more people just like you. Until next time, stay curious, stay healthy, and take wonderful care of those amazing kidneys.